Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Today I wanted to give a little story update and just a little life update, I guess, what I'm up to. You can probably tell that I'm not in Taiwan anymore, so I'm actually shooting this part of the vlog from Arizona in the United States. Anita and I talked about it and we made the hard decision for her to stay back in Taiwan and then Nita come to the US, and I may or may not go back in a few months, or she might come out here. We're just trying to figure out, what's going on in the world, and everything's changing pretty fast, so it's kind of hard to say, right? But I wanted to come back to the US to get my shots, to get vaccinated, and also, to see my family and to take care of a couple of other things as well. So anyways, here's the story. Before I left, I was actually staying in Tainan, which is in the south of Taiwan, and I was with Anita's family, and they decided to throw me kind of like a going away dinner, And we went to this Sichuan restaurant with Anita, her mom and her dad, and also her sister Hot Dog joined us as well. And we ordered a whole bunch of really cool stuff and a lot of my favorite dishes, so yeah, it was nice. So far we have some like jellyfish appetizer, and then your standard like kung pao chicken and mapo tofu. And of course we had to get some beer because it's a celebration, and that's how you do it. Yeah, we ordered a pretty good spread of food. We got the mapo tofu, which is my favorite, kung pao chicken, hot sour soup, and then eventually came the eggplant, which is like a yusheng style, which is also pretty good. All in all, it was a pretty good dinner, and it was nice for her parents to take me out, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Although it was a little bittersweet, because I was actually leaving pretty soon after we had eaten, but such is traveler life, and it's not something that I haven't done before, so it kind of is what it is, but it's all part of a bigger plan. And since COVID tests are required to board your flight to the US, and I didn't want to deal with running around in Tainan, which is a little less convenient, I decided to move up to Taipei. And so the plan was for me to go to Taipei, settle in, and then for Anita to come join me, and then I would board my flight and go back to the US. So I took the high-speed rail from Tainan to Taipei and said goodbye to everybody. And I booked an Airbnb in Taipei, which is right next to 228 Park, which ended up being a really nice location. I was able to have lunch in the park and do all that kind of stuff, and it was cool. The room was a little small, but it wasn't terrible. At some point when Nita was up there, we actually had to eat on the floor because there was no desk space, but it's kind of funny. And then once Anita actually came up to Taipei, we actually went on a couple of little day trips. Most notably the Keelung Islet, which is like a tiny little island off the coast of Keelung, which is in North Taiwan. It's a little outside of Taipei, but it was this beautiful, beautiful island, and we got a bunch of really cool drone shots, and we actually made a video about it, so you can check that out too. So it was nice spending time together with Anita in Taipei. We were roaming around, eating really good food, all that good stuff. Yeah, the menu's huge. It's like a book. You're gone now, but you're coming back. You know that you're the traveling kind. It's a known fact. Yeah, I know that. I hope I'll be your destination. Once my flight was getting closer, I was going around and preparing for that and getting all the documentation together for the test, and also buying some gifts for my family as well. And this has actually been my first flight in a long time, and you know what, traveling's not as easy as it used to be, and it's kind of a pain in the butt now, and it's really pricey. Like, I don't know if you guys have checked pricing on plane tickets lately, but yeah, they're 2 or 3 times as much as they used to be. And then you also gotta, get a test before going into most countries, so that also adds to the cost, and it's kind of a pain in the butt too. Yeah, so I ended up getting the PCR test. All right, today's COVID test day. So we're headed over to Cathay General Hospital to do the COVID test for me because I fly out in 3 days. So yeah, this is my first test. I hear it sucks. They go deep with that swab, so it is what it is. It's a requirement, so we'll get it done. Most of the tests in Taiwan run between 5,000 and 7,000 NT, so that's about $150 to maybe $230 or so, depending on how fast you want your results. So the faster you want your results, the higher the price. So I checked in, I sat down by the little green tent, and got the swab test.
How is it?
It's really deep.
Did you scream?
No. It doesn't hurt, it's just like very busufu, and it just feels like someone's sticking a Q-tip in your nose really deep. Okay. And then your eyes get watery. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it also goes in a lot deeper than you think. They kind of like prep you, and you think, it's not so terrible, and then whoop, so. But all in all, not really the end of the world. Just have, if you're moving around at this time, it's just something you're gonna have to get used to, right? I mean, it's just kind of the way it is. So yeah, so I was really happy that my results came back negative, and I was basically ready for my flight. So then after everything was packed and we said our goodbyes, I got an Uber on the way to the airport, and so began my journey. And usually I travel pretty light when it's just myself, so this time was no exception. I basically just had a backpack with my electronics and then a carry-on suitcase, so it was nice. Once I arrived at the airport, it's actually really funny because everyone has like different levels of, I don't want to say panic, but just like what they feel is safe when they're flying. So some people were like in a full suit, like face shield, like their little hospital booties, like the kind of stuff that you would see on the news, right? Like of frontline workers in the hospital. So there were some of those, and there's a whole mixture of in between. So it was kind of interesting, So as far as what I did for protection on the flight, it was pretty straightforward. I wore normal clothes, but I went ahead and I used like a 3M respirator. So it was like an N95 respirator. It was super tight on the face, and it was kind of a pain in the butt to try to breathe during that whole flight, but I think it was better on the safe side to have that nice seal. And then I wore my blue light glasses too to kind of have some shielding, I suppose. And then while I was waiting at the airport, naturally, I only had my phone at that time, so I just went ahead and recorded some thoughts of travel and my life at that time. So yeah, you can check out those clips now. It's been so long since I've been to the airport. All right, here we go. It has been a very long time since I've flown anywhere, and it's feeling a bit awkward. I mean, it's have to been, a little over a year, about 13 months, 14 months since my last flight. So yeah, Taipei Taoyuan Airport is pretty empty. Not much going on here. But yeah, I'm just waiting for my flight. It's about 45 minutes until boarding, and I'm headed to LA. So headed home for a bit by myself without Anita. So yeah, it's a bit awkward, but just had to go home and take care of some stuff, and I want to get vaccinated. And there's also some other reasons that I can't be in Taiwan, forever. So yeah. So I guess the plan is to go back to the US for a couple months, maybe 2.5 months, and then get the vaccine, take care of some stuff, see some family, and then I will likely come back to Taiwan and see Anita again, and hopefully she'll be vaccinated by then as well, and the world won't be such in a complicated place, and then we'll be able to go to a couple of new countries or some new destinations. So we'll have to see how that plays out, right? I think the flight is supposed to be about 11 hours and change, and I'm flying EVA, which is my preferred airline, so I'm usually on EVA. But yeah, it's been so long since I've been in an airport. Actually, I'm like forgetting things, you know. Through security, I actually left my my phone and my wallet in my pockets, and when I was calculating the time to get here before the flight, I didn't actually calculate for the transit time. It's just all these little mistakes. It's been so long, and I guess in the middle of all this, I guess there's a lot on my mind. But yeah, so it's kind of an interesting experience, I would say. So far, it's not as smooth as it used to be, when I was flying like 18 times a year. So should be pretty cool. We'll see how this flight goes, see what kind of movies they have, because there hasn't been a lot of new releases, so I'm a little worried about that. So I downloaded a bunch of stuff on my iPad just in case. So yeah, we'll see. What I learned actually too is that at least with international flights, or maybe it was just EVA airline specific, but there has to be a space in between each seat. So that's why the prices are so high. So like if the row has 3 seats, the center seat for the whole flight has to be empty. So effectively 2 people combined have to pay the price for 3 seats. So that's why there's an increase in cost, but I think it's a safety measure. So that could account for the price increase, because the flight was actually pretty full, which was really surprising. I was hoping I would have like empty rows and stuff like that, but not counting the purposeful empty seats, the flight was basically full. All in all, the flight ended up being really, really good, as most EVA airline flights are, and that's like kind of my go-to airline, especially when going from Taiwan to LA, because the food is always really good, it's comfortable enough, and I guess I would recommend that. And then once I arrived at the airport in the US, it was all but empty. I mean, you basically just sped through everything. It was only our flight going through customs and immigration, so it was just like, boom, super quick, walked right through. Airport was basically empty, and then my mom picked me up, and yeah, back in California. So at this point in the story, I'm already in the States, and I'm getting my first shot of Pfizer soon, and by the time this video is out, I will already be fully vaccinated. So for those of you that don't know, there's actually a little bit of, I guess I wouldn't call it an outbreak, but there's more and more cases in Taiwan at this time, and they've done a really good job of controlling it for the past year, but now the cases are kind of exploding. Nothing crazy, but for them going from almost 0 up to 300 cases a day or so, it's a pretty big deal. Most people I talk to are really worried about it, and I just hope it'll be okay, because Anita is still in Taiwan, and like she had to cancel all her trips and stuff, because she also has a channel, but she's speaking Mandarin, so I'm not sure if you guys are interested, but like she got a new bikini and she was ready for the island trips and everything, and then the cases like really spiked, and there's like partial lockdowns and things like that. So basically, I mean, I got lucky that I left Taiwan at actually the perfect time, and I entered Taiwan last year at the perfect time too. So it was like right before everything kicked off last year, and then now I'm in the States where things are getting a little better and you're able to get vaccinated, like anyone really. So it's pretty cool. So I guess I'm pretty lucky in that whole respect, right? Hopefully everything goes okay back in Taiwan, and either Anita will come out here in a couple months, or I might go back. But I would like to go to Mexico, which is actually open right now as well. So hopefully, we can both be in the US, get our shots, and then we can go to Mexico and, at least show you guys that, and we can travel safely because we've already had our shots. And yeah, so I guess we'll have to see how the year unfolds, because, no one really knows right now, and the world is still what it is, and, it's not easy. So to plan, right? Yep, so that's a little bit of a life update for you guys from beautiful Bullhead City, Arizona at the moment. So yeah, so there'll be a release of other, California videos, and possibly more from Bullhead City as well. And, I'm just gonna try and explore the area as best I can, and share the California lifestyle, if you will. So there'll be some mountains, there'll be some some water sports, and lots of in and out. Yeah, if it's your first time checking out my channel, I usually do food and travel, but just more from a casual, go with the flow kind of thing. Just kind of roaming and exploring, and that's kind of what I'm into. And yeah, so if you're into that, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And for everyone else that's been here for a while, I'll see you in the next video.